I'm Dr. Lutzmini, Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I'm going to take the topic testing web and mobile applications. So, the most important distinction between the mobile and web application testing is that the former test software applications for mobile devices, while the later mobile application test hosted software application for functionality, compatibility. So it verify all the links and buttons function properly. Validation and submission of test forms. It will check whether their website is responsive and operates on various devices and browsers. So ensure that website. So we'll see one by one. Web application testing. So it has the functionality testing, usability testing, compatibility testing, database testing, crowd testing, interface testing, performance testing, and security. So when you are testing a web application, there is a lot of things you have to check for. The checklist is given. So functionality testing, usability testing, interface testing, compatibility testing, performance testing, and the first thing you have to check in your web application is to make sure that does the task it was built for. When you build an application, you have a purpose for that application. For example, if you are building an e-commerce website like Amazon, the purpose of the application would be to let users buy stuff online. You have to make sure that the products are listed in the right way. You also have to make sure that the links of the product works fine. The payment gateways and e-processing system are the major things you have to test it. Usability testing we have seen in the previous slide. So that it is for the user experience while using your application. This is a step where you test how pleasing your application is to user. So it is easier to navigate through the you use the functions of your application. You have to make sure that the contents of your application are easily visible. So while reading, so whether it have to have the grammatical mistake or typos, that you have impressions of it. Interface testing. A typical web application has three main components: a web server that manages the function of the web application, a web browser has to interact with the server, and the database. Interface testing checks the communication between the web server, the web browser, and the database. In interface testing, you have to make sure that there is a proper communication between the three components. So compatibility testing have to check browser compatibility, operating system compatibility, and device compatibility. There are so many number of browsers. You have Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera, etc. So you have to make sure the application runs without any problem. Operating system compatibility. There are a lot of applications operating system. You have to check whether it is fine when you device compatibility. So you have the various kinds of devices. It creates a headache for the developers. So you have to check whether it is working for laptop, well, a mobile phone, tablets. So web application is working in all devices. Performance testing. So when you are having the web application online, so there will be times where it will attract a lot of user based on what's happening outside the world. So for example, e-commerce website will get more traffic when it has a Christmas sale. Say for example, Amazon website or Flipkart. So how to compare to not day. So the crowd will be. You should test your application to make sure that it can handle its traffic load. So how to prepare the application to put the application under stress. You push it to limits and see how it responds. Security testing is one of the many most important aspect of any application. So when you build a web application, you will be storing a lot of user and application data. The data consists of sensitive information. Security testing is a stage where you find out weak security points in your application. So there are many ways to do this. Automated security testing, ethical hacking, and penetration testing are the most used ones. Mobile application testing. It refers to the process of validating the mobile app through Android OS or iOS. So functionality or usability it is released publicly. So for the successful testing, the teams need to test the application across numerous screen resolutions, OS versions, and distinct network bandwidth. It helps to ensure that the app performs flawlessly across numerous device configuration when released publicly. So test app performance across different distinct OS versions, Android 7, Android X, 8, etc. So validating apps compatibility. So when operated on specific testing, the mobile sensors like gyroscope, accelerometer, and GPS. So testing the apps UI, there may be GUI will have menus, drop down navigation, buttons, etc. for functionality. So web applications are software application that resides on web server that is can be accessed through web browsers. So the users way of integrating with them also differs as mobile user use just as like scrolling, pinch and zoom. So touch the mobiles. Naturally the methods to test both differ as well. Thank you. I'm Dr. Lutz Mary, Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I'm going to take the topic